What's up, you guys? Matt Thibeau here with Savant Marketing Agency, and in this video we're going to be talking all about sales funnels and how you can completely change the way that you approach your business by understanding this one simple concept of really how to market your business and how to acquire new clients. This video is perfect for you if you're a contractor and you're looking to grow your business, do some more marketing, and really start to scale your company. And I think by the end of this video, you're going to have a very different understanding of how to grow your contracting business, whether it's a painting company, whether it's a landscaping company, a holiday lighting company, and more. And so let's just jump right into things here. I'm going to first talk about what a sales funnel exactly is, because that might be a foreign term. Maybe you haven't heard it before. Maybe you've heard a little bit about it, but I'm going to walk you through what a sales funnel is. And I'm just going to dive into the different stages of a sales funnel and basically how to diagnose in your contracting business different issues that are actually harming your growth, or how to fix those issues, and then which will allow you to scale much more. And I don't see a lot of people talking about this. A lot of people will just talk about the lead gen portion of things, but I'm going to dive into the nitty gritty today so that you really get all the meat and potatoes. So again, if you're really looking to grow your contracting business, this is exactly what you need to be learning right now. So let's dive into it. So basically, what is a sales funnel? Well, basically what a sales funnel is I wrote this, rudimentary little picture here of a funnel, if you could think of it. And basically what a sales funnel is it's a process of how you take a complete stranger or a lead, right, into your business, and then they follow a system that will slowly qualify them more until they actually become a customer, right? I'm going to break down basically how I look at a sales funnel in a contracting business, and it'll give you a really strong visual of how a customer acquisition process for your contracting business actually works. So the first thing that a sales funnel actually needs, right, are leads, right? So at the top of our funnel, we have leads coming in, right? Now, something to think about when it comes to this is you notice that the top of the funnel is very wide, right? And so something that's super important with any contracting business is you need a lot of leads coming in, right? And so for some smaller contracting businesses, this is oftentimes like a main issue for a smaller contracting business, right? Is they're like, Matt, I'm just not getting enough leads. And believe it or not, I have hundreds of videos on this channel. So if you want to learn about lead generation, that's actually something that we can help you solve fairly quickly. Whether it's stuff like Facebook ads or Google ads, or even stuff that's offline, right? Like door knocking, etc. These kind of things. These are all systems that you can use to flood your business with leads, right? So the first step in any sales funnel is to actually get enough leads. And I would say that there are definitely two types of contracting businesses that fall into this. Ones that, don't get enough leads or enough qualified leads. But then the other side is that they actually have a lot of leads, and then other parts of the sales funnel are actually broken, right? So something to think about when it comes to the top of your funnel, right? This is what we call the top of your funnel, is you want as many leads as possible coming into the top of this funnel, right? And sometimes, this is like an example of this would be like, when you're running ads, you want as many leads as possible coming into your business. Now, the rest of the funnel's job is to qualify them and all that, and we'll talk about that in just a sec. But what's really important is at the top of your funnel, you want to keep this fairly wide, right? So you want to be attracting a lot of leads coming in through, and then the rest of our system is going to actually qualify those leads, right? So the very first thing, like at the top of the funnel, is getting enough leads, right? So that's kind of the first thing that you need to fix. And again, Google ads, Facebook ads, pretty much any kind of marketing there is going to be generating leads into your business. And that's kind of step number one, which again, what I said is actually not as difficult as you might think. Like that's what we specialize in, bringing you leads. So that's something that we could definitely help you with. But at the top of the funnel is the leads, right? So once you get the leads coming in, the next part of the funnel would be some kind of like qualification, right? This could be like some form of like a call something like that. So let's say the lead comes in and then you've got an appointment setter or yourself, you call that lead and you just do like a quick 15-minute chat with them, right? Or maybe you're texting them and you're just kind of saying like, hey, what are you looking for, right? Okay, yeah, you're looking for this, blah, blah, blah. I would say at the qualification level, we're not talking too much price. You can if you want, if you have like maybe a smaller sales team. But at this stage, all you're doing is you're just qualifying like, is this something that I want to do? Is this person like the type of client that we want to work with, basically? And that can come in the form of a quick phone call. It can come in the form of maybe even just a video that you send them or something like that. I recommend a phone call though, because then you can kind of feel out the person and see if this is the type of client you actually want to work with. But that's the next stage in this process here. And, I'll kind of talk about different issues at each level in the funnel. So, issues at the leads level would just be not getting enough leads or enough qualified leads. And then this level would be, some of the issues that I would see come into like the qualification level here is that a lot of contractors actually overqualify and they don't let the process, which I'll break down more in a sec, but they don't let the lead actually go through a real sales process. And so they actually overqualify here. So an example of overqualifying for a contractor would be something like on that first call, they would say, yeah, you're looking at around like $60,000. Is that something that could fit within your budget? And the person's like, I don't know, like blah, 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 And then the contractor will say something like, oh, like, this lead's not serious or whatever. I only want the people who are ready to buy right now. But dude, you're overqualifying, right? So this is something that you don't want to overqualify in this process on this first initial phone call, but you also want to qualify, I would say, for the bare minimum that is someone you would bring into your business to work with. And so you could talk about price and all that later, and that we'll get to that. But that's something that's very, very important to get right. So if you're getting a lot of leads, but then you're not getting a lot of sales out of those leads, it's probably because you're overqualifying at that level. Oh, sorry, not enough sales. I meant not enough estimates. So if you're getting a lot of leads but not enough estimates, then you're probably overqualifying, right? So, and that brings us to the next one here is let's talk estimates. So after you have that quick qualification call, right, then you're going to move them to an appointment, right, which would be like an estimate, right? So you qualify them, then you move them to an appointment, right? So on this appointment, from here to here, I would say for a lot of contractors, this is where they lose a lot of business. So from the lead point to a qualification to actually booking an appointment, this process is called appointment setting, right? And this is something that we teach our clients a lot because it's not enough just to get a bunch of leads. If you're getting a lot of leads, but then your process from here to here is out of whack, then your sales at the very end is also going to be out of whack, right? And I'm going to break down some numbers just so you know what to expect from each level in just a sec. But I would say I see a lot of contractors who are actually getting a lot of leads and then they will qualify decently, but then they never get them to an appointment, right? And the reason for that, the reason that some contractors will have a low appointment setting rate is because they have bad habits. They have bad habits when it comes to appointment setting. Some bad habits would look like something like when you're talking to someone and you're qualifying them, saying something like, yeah, okay, let's talk. Here's my phone number. And then like giving the client your phone number and saying, yeah, give me a call. Let's talk more. Like that is going to significantly reduce the amount of appointments that you go on because you are now putting in their court to give you a call and reach out to you. Don't do that because like people don't want to call you and reach out to you. You should be asking them for their phone number. Like that's an easy little tip. I know that's very specific, but that's one reason why a lot of contractors will lose business, right? So from the lead to the appointment, what they'll do is yeah, here's my phone number, give me a call. The person never calls, right? So you want to ask them for their phone number. Yeah, I'll give you a call, right? You're proactive, right? Another example would be something like if you are having a conversation with someone and then they're saying something like, yeah, like let's meet next week. Like I have screenshots and conversations of some clients where the lead will actually say like, yeah, I want to meet, like let's do this. And then they'll just ghost them. So like stuff like follow up in an initial conversation as well is how you're going to get more appointments out of the leads that you have, right? And so this is super important. I would say that this is probably one of the number one things that most contractors will drop the ball on, is like they're actually getting a lot of leads, but then they're not getting a lot of estimates or appointments out of those leads because their process in appointment setting is really bad. And so that's something that, that I have other videos on that really walks you through that. I have one video I did that was called the Appointment Setting Mastery, and it talks all about this process here. Things like just calling your leads quickly, following up with your leads, just basic stuff like that is going to really boost your appointment setting system in this process, right? Okay, so after this point, you book the appointment, right? And then at this point now, this is where we're now delivering an estimate and we're actually like asking for a sale, right? So at this point, this is where I would put like, basically money. This is where you're getting your sale, right? And you can see, just visually looking at this, it's like we start off wide, lots of leads, we qualify, it gets narrower, we book an appointment, that gets narrower, and then at the very end, we're getting sales out of this system, right? And so from this point to this point, appointment to sale, I'll give you some of the reasons why contractors will not get this right either. So basically, one of the bigger reasons I would say that contractors can't convert appointments into sales is that they aren't meeting the prospect in person. Like a lot of contractors have picked up a bad habit of just emailing over estimates, right? And that can work if you have enough leads and this part of your pipeline big enough. This will be a smaller number, but if this is big enough, then yeah, you can email over estimates, but just understand you are throwing a lot of money away. Like you're leaving a lot of money on the table by doing that, because you will have a much less conversion rate on like the sales side by just emailing over estimates, right? So one of the easiest ways to bump your appointment setting rate to your close rate is to actually just meet someone in person, sit down at the kitchen table with them and say, hey, like, what do you think? Do you want to move forward? Actually asking for the order. That is going to bump up your rate a lot. So I'm going to break down some numbers for you here just so you can get a visual. So of your leads, right? So leads to your appointment, this number here, we should get at least 50% of people doing that, right? So that means there will be a 50% drop off from leads to appointment, like absolute max, right? So like this number should not go lower than 50%. This is what we teach our clients. So let's say that you got, 30 leads in a month, then out of those 30 leads, 15 people should be receiving an in-person estimate. If it's any lower than that, then you have a qualification problem or you have an appointment setting problem. So you're either overqualifying, which is still an appointment setting problem, you're overqualifying in that this section here, or your appointment setting is not up to par. So how to diagnose that? If it's less than 50% of the leads that you're getting, you could have a couple issues. So I would say like number one would be the leads maybe are trash, which is like a possibility. And that would definitely affect your appointment setting rate. You could also be overqualifying, which will drop that number, or you're just not getting people to an appointment, which, to be honest, is the number one thing that is like the biggest issue is appointment setting, is that mostly you're just not calling the leads fast enough. You're not actually like pursuing and following up with them enough to get them to the appointment. Or you're doing stupid stuff like saying, here's my number, and then like ghosting them and just expecting them to reach out to you. That is like one of the biggest drop-offs there. So then at this point, the next part of the funnel would be that we want to have enough appointments to get us the amount of sales that we would want, right? So this part here, you should be landing about 30% of sales from your appointments, right? So 30% of, in my example here of 30 leads, you do 15 appointments. So you should be landing about 30% of that, of the 15. So I think it's like 4 or whatever, something around there, right? So that is basically how I would look at a sales funnel in a contracting business. So if this number is low from your appointments to your sales, that could also mean a couple things. So let's say that this number is like 15%, like half, super low. That would mean that you're either sending estimates over like through email, like what I was talking about, you're not meeting people in person. It would mean that you're not really following up for your sales. It would mean that maybe your pricing or your offer isn't really resonating with the audience that you're trying to sell to, right? So basically what it means is you have a closing problem. You're not able to close deals, right? And so typically, when we see a client who has lower than 30% of their estimates to their sales, almost always, without fail, if I ask like, hey, are you emailing over estimates instead of meeting with them? They'll say, yeah. And then as soon as we get them to start meeting in person, that's one of the quickest hacks, then that rate just goes like way up. So I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about some like ways too that you can think about this, because, you know, a lot of contractors will say, well, Matt, I don't have the time to like call all these leads and qualify and book these appointments. So what a lot of contractors do is they get lazy, and then that's how the appointment setting rate starts going down, like below 50%. And so in that case, I would say you need to hire an appointment setter. You need to hire someone whose job is to like call those people up and just quickly qualify them and book them in for an appointment with you. You know, that person could be part-time. It could even, you know, possibly be like an outsourced call center, which isn't the best, but, you know, so those are some like quick fixes for that. And then for this, you know, let's say that you're just like, man, Matt, I don't have the time to actually meet people in person. I need to be doing, you know, these estimates, like emailing them over. I would say hire an estimator, like hire someone who goes out and does the estimates so that you're the person then who comes back and like meets with them and like actually closes. Like, it's going to be worth more your time to be more efficient on the sales side than running around and wasting your time doing like a bunch of other tasks. So as the business owner, your number one priority is like bringing money into the business. So you should be spending most of your time here. If you're going to outsource something, maybe outsource it at like the appointment setting section. But if you see that the number is below 50%, then you have an issue with your appointment setter. They're not following up. They're not calling the leads fast enough. And then if you have an issue here, it's lower than 30%, then you have a sales problem. So I hope that this gives you like a very good visual, and I hope that, you know, I didn't make this too convoluted, but this is basically how I look at a client acquisition system in a construction business. So just to recap, right? Number one is we need to get enough leads, right? So if we don't get enough leads, we're not going to get enough sales, right? So number one, we need to fill our pipeline with a bunch of leads. Number two is we need to qualify those leads, ideally with a quick phone call, right? Once we do that quick phone call, we book them in for an appointment. So the process of appointment setting, right? The number of people who go from lead to appointment should be no less than 50%, ideally more than 50%, but that is the absolute least amount, right? And then once we book them in for an appointment, that is when we meet with them, we do an in-person estimate, and we ask for the order. And the number of people from appointment to close should be no less than 30%. So a third of the people that you meet with, you should be closing, right? If it's lower than that, then that means that you're not closing very well. It means that you need to meet with them in person, spend more time, invest more time, get better at overcoming objections. Basically, you need sales training. If it's higher than 30%, then that's awesome, right? And so I hope you found this video helpful. And like I said, if you have a leads problem, I've got a bunch of videos on my channel that show how to do Facebook ads and Google ads, and I break down, you know, client success stories and what we do there. And then I have some videos also on the appointment setting side too. So you can check those out if you're looking to get, you know, better at that skill. But this is how I look at growing a construction company, how to acquire clients, and it's how you should look at it too, because it will give you a more realistic view of each stage in the sales funnel. So then if you have an issue at any point, you can actually fix that, and it will fix other areas here too. And so you're really going to be looking at your marketing with a more systematic approach and a more holistic approach, because so many contractors will say, you know, I've got a leads problem, but they actually have an appointment setting problem. They're getting a bunch of leads, but they're not doing anything with it, right? And so I hope you found this helpful. So, you know, if you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up, give me a comment below, subscribe to this channel so I can keep making more great videos like this. And if you want some help with the leads part of this, we actually help contractors get more leads. So you can check out our website there, and if you like what you see, you can book a call and we can chat more. All right, guys, I'll see you on the next one.